Hey guys, what's up? International Master Willam Paschall. We are playing Weird Wednesday Unusual opening stream. So we're going to be playing fun variations and lines that I wouldn't normally play. Let me turn the volume off computer number 2 here. Alright, so it's Wednesday morning. Every Wednesday I do this. 10 a.m. I'm playing unusual lines. I was doing a tactics problems here. Got it wrong. Alright, that was kind of a hard one. Two variations, they looked both winning to me. So, thank you guys for subscribing. We have lost a few subscribers in the last couple days, so I appreciate those of you that do resubscribe. Bob, Arsenal, what's up guys? Mule Skinner says, anyone know if you have to give back rating on lichess if you win against a cheater? If you have to get back your rating on lichess if you win against a cheater. You should actually send a message if you didn't get back your points. You should send a message to an admin on lichess. Yes, Bob, we had the echo. Anyway, guys, if you do subscribe and you watch the stream regularly, I appreciate resubscribing. We're going to play the subscribers first. Morales, Arsenal fan, Mule Skinner. And then we'll go to our moderator, Soltigo, Knight to D5, and Dirty Cheater. That's what we got at the lineup right now. As a lineup right now. Morales is subscribed. Sorry, Bob, a little bit of a late... No, Mule Skinner, I'm saying you should mention it to some kind of moderator or lichess administrator. Alright, we've got to play unusual openings. Against Knight F3, it's tough to do. Morales. I'll just open with A6. I can always do that. You can do that against anything. My new thing that I was trying to think of last night was... Not just last night, I mentioned this last week. I'm trying to think of a way to play the Budapest Gambit with the white pieces. But I can't think of a good waiting move for white on move 1 to try to set up the Budapest Gambit. Okay, I thought maybe A3 or A4 you could play on move 1 and then and then Knight F3 move 2 and then try to get like a tempo up. Budapest. Okay, well, let's see. No Budapest here. We've got to play B5. There really isn't another way. I mean, I could play the symmetrical English with A6, which wouldn't be so bad. But this is the point. You can keep the order the same. Well, you are last in line, Soltigo, aren't you? Well, there's a couple non-subscribers before you. Well, I'd rather, like, you know, that's cool. All right. Just I respect you being a moderator here, and it helps the stream. It's really valuable, so that's cool. All right. Also, check out my YouTube channel. You guys regulars know about it. Video chess training on YouTube. Last night we had a fun viewer tournament, which I managed to sneak in and win in the last moment. I berserked a couple games at the end and got lucky that my games ended quickly. Really nothing to do here but take, I think. I once had a similar game against International Master Kushtar Shandor, who now lives in like Montana or something. The Hungarian IM played against me Knight F3. I played B5. Then he played, I think, E3. And I played A6. So it's almost the same. Bishop takes C4. You got to be careful. Bishop B7, for example. Game over. We have to be a bit careful about how we develop pieces here. But we did trade a wing pawn for a central pawn. The echo thing was just because my other computer was not turned off as far as the sound, and I mentioned that I was turning the sound off. But usually I turn it off before I start to stream. So I can hear myself Knight to d5 says it is possible to create an opening or variation because there are so many. It's not very easy. There's not much left to discover in chess openings. As far as like early on in the openings, basically. The echo is on your end. Oh, that's weird because I did have the sound turned on. All right. Knight c3. Now I can start thinking about bishop b7 at some point without having to worry about queen b3. But I think I can just go ahead and play d5 and c5 here. I mean, that seems like the strategic plan anyway. To exploit my central pawn majority, I have 4 pawns. Highly recommend the book, The Middle Game by Max Euwe, who was world champion. It's actually a 2-part series. It's out of print, but you can find old copies. He talks about the central majority of pawns in this series a lot and devotes a chapter to this, or central pawn preponderance he talks about, and this is a very, very important concept. I think we'll just play bishop e7. It's less aggressive than bishop d6, but if I put my bishop on d6, he could do a Bogo Indian type of thing with like d3 and e4. Ultimately harass my bishop on d6 and my knight on f6 getting forked. A lot of beginners fall for that kind of trap in simple openings like the Cully system or the London system. They let their pieces get forked by oncoming pawns. You got to think carefully about where you place your bishop in this kind of situation. What are you guys talking about? I don't know. All right. It's boring. Now the knight on e5. Try to undermine its position. Soltigo, keep your eyes out for trolls, okay? We've got this really sad guy back. He's trolling the stream, so he'll create a new account every 5 minutes on Twitch. I could really care less, but we might as well delete it as fast as possible. All right. Good morning, people. We're trying to undermine the white center. We already have 4 on 3, sort of central majority. If you consider the F file, E file, D file, and C file, all these files to be the center, not the proper center, but the center. Would you advise A4 against A6? No. But I mean, it all depends on the position, but no, I don't think so. It's okay, you can do that, but it doesn't seem best. You know what theoretically like the best move is? Probably knight f3, a6. I would think you should just play e4. If you don't play e4 at all against anything, okay, you can't really do that. Then you should probably revert to d4, g3 type of setup. Or you can always play the King's Indian attack. Bishop d2 is a bit weird. It definitely seems strange to put the bishop on b7. But, it could open up eventually here. Now he took on c5, which I did not expect. Well, this could get a little weird. But we play bishop d6 now because that's the tempo. I was looking even at queen e1 for him. Might be valid. Okay, not that easy. Milskinner creates no pawn weaknesses. I think I should play this safely. Since I'm low on time, I mean, I do have knight e4, but he plays bishop d4 there. Now his bishop's very stable. My knight is not stable. Though I have knight e4, bishop d4, f6, followed by e5. Which is really weakening my d5 square. I'm just not really that into that. Man, I don't know about this. This is a little dicey. Of course, I can let him take on f6, but I can't take with the queen on d7 because of the knight fork on b6. Or can I? I'm looking at crazy exchange sacrifices like knight takes d7, queen takes d7, knight b6, queen c6, knight takes a8, d4. Man, that might actually work. Almost. It might even literally work. He has to defend the mate with something like queen g4, then I take on c3. His knight's still trapped. Man, is that crazy or what? Huh. That might actually work. He would have ways out of it by just playing like bishop d4. Queen takes d7, knight b6, queen c6, bishop d4, for example. And he has time to play like rook c1. So I'm not sure. With very little time left, I'm not going to go into that kind of variation. I would definitely spend a lot of time in a tournament game calculating a chess streamer. I was winning pretty badly against Magnus today. What? Magnus did rook sack. Oh, so Magnus was playing on lichess, apparently. The supposed Magnus. I'm not sure if this is even a good move. I'm getting so low on time here. I love the way Morales plays without creating any weaknesses in his position. He's got queen d4 now. Okay, he does have a weakness at e3, but it's hard to attack. The proverbial is a weakness really a weakness if you can't attack it, which I say all the time. Our catchphraseology. But it's useful to have these kind of sayings because they help us kind of keep a perspective. F5 is tempting, but it would allow me some attacking chances with queen h4, so he has to watch out for that. Queen g4, knight f6. I could even play e5 maybe, but that's kind of weakening. Really good game by White so far. He's got such a tight control of the position. I'm gonna play safely here. I think White is better now. This is pretty risky for me. I shouldn't play f5. Man, he just goes right ahead with g4. Damn. Dismiss his bullet rating. Strong bishop on d4. It's pretty difficult to decide which way to recapture there. But I'm afraid that the d file could be kind of awkward for me. Oh, he's heading for a5 if I go here. Maybe not a big deal. Just basically a blitz game with no we'll just increment here. Queen g2, not what I expected. We're just hoovering the pieces now. Theoretically, white has a queenside majority, so I'm not sure if I'm really fully equal. On the positive side, I have some space and my pawns are on the right color for the most part. His queenside majority is the only serious danger. It's probably just a draw. Yeah, I've been messing around here. I wonder about playing g5 myself. Actually, very double-edged to play g5 myself. I'd rather not say I did. Okay, good game. You're better, you know, like for the most part. The computer is saying g5 for white. It's just a draw though. This game, I like my opening, but after the opening I didn't get any anything. I got slightly worse when I decided to, what did I do? Something weird. I took on a4 with my bishop. I mean, maybe that's just bad. Alright guys, let's move on to the next game. So Arsenal fan is up next. Guys, please remember to resubscribe if you can. We've got, let's see, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday blitz chess here in the mornings. Thursday is subscriber stream. Tuesday is the viewer tournament. Yesterday we had a good viewer tournament. Rich, what's up? I'm not supposed to play my normal openings. Alright. Okay, let's play e5 and see what we can find here. Something out of the ordinary for me. He plays the King's Gambit. Good game, Antonio. You were slightly better, I thought, at one point. F4, knight e7. Not possible, but we can take and play knight e7. We can try that. I want to play something rare that isn't so commonly seen. And he's playing bishop c4 though. This is not what I expected. I expected him to play the normal King's Gambit with knight f3. I wonder if he can play like a b5 type of idea. The normal moves are knight f6 and d5 here, and queen h4 check, which I've never been a big fan of. Alright, let's try this. Searching for unusual ideas. B5, the theme of the day. A threat of the double bishop sacrifice. Oh my god. Yeah, Morales could do a Lasker type of sacrifice. I didn't like my move F5, but maybe it was okay. But at that point I was already slightly worse. Yeah, he was better. You think it was? He thinks F5 was a good move, though. I don't know. It depends on how critical my position was. I don't like it, you know, in a sense, because it weakens my king side. It may have been necessary, but it was just kind of ugly to play it. I didn't want to have to play it, but maybe it was necessary last game. So now here we are, B5. You're not going to find too many games with B5, I presume. So we're getting our unusual situation here, taking white out of book. But now he's threatening queen H5 with a double attack. You know, I could easily sacrifice a pawn. I'm not that afraid. But how do we bring the pieces out? Bishop B7, queen H5. Bishop B7, queen H5 is still a problem. I could play knight F6 now. Looks kind of interesting. Knight F6, E4 though, E5, and the problem is he has knight E5, knight E4, bishop D5, queen H4 check. Wow, that's insane. Wow, that's insane. Is that really possible to play knight F6, E5, knight E4? That looks totally wrong. What else can I do? Nothing really fits in with B5. I mean, playing bishop B7 would be the logical continuation. But he has this queen H5 idea. Looks like B5 is just too experimental. The knight F6, E5, knight E4, knight F3, and I think my position is pretty bad. So I don't think that's, well, not the soundest option for black. My position is definitely dubious here. Hard to come up with an unusual opening in this system. We tried B5, but it's looking pretty sketchy. Maybe we should play queen H4 check after all. Wonder why he didn't consider taking on B5. This at least cuts out queen H5, which is constantly a problem. How can black get his pieces coordinated? Basically no time. Of course, queen H5 is, yeah, it's a not, like, known line. Queen H4 check, immediately not B5. In the other line, the engine's like queen h4 check, the immediate queen h4 check, queen h6 ideas. But that seems crazy. Here at least I'm guarding my b5 pawn, keeping surveillance on his queen on d1, guarding f7. Maybe I can complete my development with something like knight e7, knight g6. That would block my queen's movement, though. I don't think this b5 is going to get a repeat performance anytime. I didn't really gain anything, but it's interesting that Rich rejected it. I mean, where is my compensation after b5? Bishop takes b5. I guess I'm not down a pawn. I can try to hold on to the pawn on f4. His bishop is loose. He'll lose a little bit of time, but it's hard to say if it's better to take it or play decline as he did. I try to teach people not to be materialistic. Owlette needs to buy smokes. I hope you don't live in the United States, where they cost like $1 million a pack. All right, queen e2. Yeah, I quit smoking like back in, it was, I think, 2010. It's been pretty long now. 2009, I quit several times, but I've been quit for good since like 2009, 2010. Queen e2, it was like 2010, I guess. Queen e2, guarding and attacking and defending at the same time. The best kind of move in chess. I'm a little concerned about what, knight to c3 maybe? I'm running out of time, as you guys can see. This feels like a bad chess 960 game, basically, for black. Maybe I can still castle queenside. Perhaps I shouldn't try to hold on to my pawn, but if I don't hold on to the pawn, it feels like I have nothing to show for this very, very, very strange position. Bob had a weird experience. He didn't find it difficult at all. I found it difficult for like 2 weeks, but that was it. I've quit several times. But it's been 2 long times. Like I quit for 3 years once, and I've quit for like 6 years now. 7 years. When I quit, I really quit. But it's like $10 a pack of cigarettes in the United States. I mean, you could spend like $500 a month on smoking. I mean, that's pretty insane. A4, B4, or A4, A6. So much for castling queenside. We're about to lose on time. Have I ever played Eric Hansen? And I've got a really bad kink in my neck. I don't think I've ever played Eric Hansen at all. I remember playing somewhere where I saw the guy. It had to be a long, long time ago when he first started playing. What am I supposed to do now? Like D6? I think I saw Eric Hansen at a World Open, maybe like one of my last World Opens in the early 2000s. And I, noticed him because he was like a 2400 player I had never heard of before. But it's just a very vague and fleeting memory. Maybe I saw him at a World Open in like 2003. Would that be possible? Was he playing chess back in 2003? I don't think I've ever even played a blitz game against him online, unless it was like anonymously. Nine seconds left. That center is looking pretty strong. Rich missed bishop takes f7 for like 100 moves, but I just didn't even prevent it because I couldn't see a good move against it, actually. So I didn't even bother preventing it. At one point I just gave up. I said, if he plays bishop takes f7 check, okay, I'll just play king d8, He's got amazing speed of play, but he doesn't really calculate too much. It's easier to play fast when you don't calculate. He just plays on intuition. I almost dropped a piece again. He's like a purely positional player, but playing this really aggressive opening, the King's Gambit. You do see people that play the King's Gambit like in a positional way. But he's still got problems with his king and his rook on a1 and f1. I think he needs to calculate more though. He's got a 1 minute time advantage. It's huge. How do I win? Queen g2. Knight h4 check. I don't know. King e1. I'm winning with queen g2, but I didn't see how after rook f1. Oh my god. I have queen takes g3. That's so sick, dude. I was panicking because I had no time left. Oh my god. Queen takes g3 check. Okay, rook f1 is clearly not a good move. This was a bad game, but that's typical of King's Gambit positions. I mean, it's just so hard for humans to calculate irrational positions. We both made tons of mistakes, especially me. But Rich should have seen bishop takes f7 check. I mean, you had it for like 3 different moves, but I guess once you don't see it, then you just kind of dismiss it. But he had this like right from the early going, you know, bishop takes f7 here. Once I played knight g6. You've got to find that tactic. I mean, I'm just basically like busted after that. I have to play king d8, and then it's just like clear advantage to white. I am not fully awake yet. I did not see queen takes g3. That's pretty bad. All right, Mule Skinner, what's up next? That was a fun game, dude. To play queen takes g3 with no time left, I didn't see the smothered mate at all. Tactics problems. The tactics problems here on lichess, I would have definitely missed that one. All right, I'm gonna be black every game. It's one of those streams. The collective making me black every game. Again, I want to try to play interesting stuff in the e4 e5 realm. Let's see. Yeah, bishop takes, king takes, knight e5 check. I can't take on f7. My queen is hanging on h5. That's why I guess that's why the chess engine likes queen h6 in the normal lines there for some reason. Queen h4 check on move 3. But I wanted to play something weird. That's why I played b5. Unusual opening. I don't remember what Mule Skinner's repertoire is. In the Royal Paz. I could play the Latvian Gambit. We've only done this on one occasion. It didn't work out too well. Yeah, bishop takes f7, king takes f7, knight e5 check. Wins the queen for 2 pieces, so I can't take on f7. And like I saw it, like almost immediately, but I had no useful move to prevent it. It was kind of comical. I mean, I guess I could have done something ridiculous, like put my knight back on e7 or play queen h6, but I didn't like any of the moves that were possible. Alright, so Mule Skinner plays knight c3. Now, I don't know this variation. The best line is probably like the main line, knight takes e5. But I think that knight c3 is also okay for white. Don't ask me about the theory here. I had a book on the Latvian Gambit years ago, but I haven't looked at it in like the better part of 20 years. And even then, I'm sure that the theory has changed. It was never really a sound opening for black, but kind of fun. I like to play it in blitz for a while. Definitely a good opening in blitz if you really memorize the lines. The funniest variation is probably knight takes e5, knight c6, a very unsound gambit line. This looks like a game out of the early 1800s now. It's like a king's gambit with colors reversed. Let's see, bishop c5, no. Pawn takes e4, knight takes e5. I think this is like some actual variation. Pawn takes e4, knight takes e5, then what do I do? Maybe bishop c5. Knight f7, queen e7. Knight takes h8, I have nothing, right? If knight c6, knight g5, d5 maybe. Then he's got like, okay, pawn takes d5. It's kind of like a, does that make sense? Knight g5 is his big threat. F takes e, knight takes e5, d5. Now I'm scared of knight takes d5. Which is probably like the book line. F takes e, knight takes e5. Alright, let's go into it. Well, let's not. F takes e5, knight takes e5, d5. Knight takes d5. Then I have a moment to think. If knight takes d5, queen h5 check. Is that right? My other option is to play like knight c6 on knight g5, d5, like a two knights game. White can just take with a knight, but then knight takes, leaves his knight hanging on g5. So pawn takes, and again it's like a four knights game. Be knight a5 or something. This is really unsound. I mean, we're just having fun here today, so I'm going to go ahead and play this. Arsenal fan is suggesting c6, and maybe he's right. Damn. It didn't occur to me. Yeah, it's kind of like a reverse King's Gambit idea. If I played this opening more often, I probably would have hit upon c6. I know that c3 is possible with white. It's actually one of the strongest lines with white in the reversed version of this. So Arsenal fan is probably... You're probably right, man. I mean, c6 looks like a good move. Damn. c6 is better. It's not easy, but I think that's probably the right idea, dude. Good call. Yeah, my idea is to play like a two knights, you know, if knight g5, d5. But it's definitely not sound for black. Not really sound or correct. But anyway, in the interest of playing fun openings here. An unusual isn't a bad opening, it's a rare opening. Well, I mean, you know, it's all relative, isn't it? If it's not perfect, it's technically bad. Where do we draw the line between good and bad? And there's like right and wrong, black and white. Well, I mean, I think that the Latvian is at the bottom of the you know, the Latvian is not sound, dude. I mean, it just gives white a massive advantage. It's not like playing the Mora Gambit or something that's totally sound. There's definitely like a scale, you know. This is at the bottom of the scale in soundness, in terms of soundness. The King's Gambit is somewhere in the middle, you know. The Latvian, you're trying to play the King's Gambit with black. I mean, you're like -1 according to the engine right away, probably. D3. This is a quiet move, and now it's gonna like transpose to some kind of, I mean, it could even be, it's basically like a reversed Vienna game or something like that. I was thinking maybe bishop b4. Either bishop e4 or bishop c5, trying to get my bishop outside the pawn chain. I like bishop b4. And now it's like a Grand Prix attack. Muleskinner's favorite. If knight g5, rook f8. This is a line of the Vienna, right, with colors reversed. A lot of very dogmatic but strong players might consider 1b3 to be a mistake, tactical wizard. And it would be hard to argue with them. The move's simply not as good as the other moves. But I agree in general. Yeah, like b3 I would qualify as unusual. But anyway, we're just arguing over little details, right? Just the naming of bad or unusual. But I don't want to play things that are just outright garbage. This is the bottom of the barrel. I won't really play worse than Latvian. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. I think this is an opening that you might encounter, you know, and that therefore it's interesting. If it's something like 1a4, it's just ridiculous, and we can just not bother with that. But I think for the unusual opening stream, we should draw the line at things that people play in practice, you know. Actual variations that get played and you have to deal with. B takes C. I don't play the Vienna game, but this looks like a good move. The Latvian is definitely something that people really play. Castling queenside is usually okay for black. Yeah. Well, now there's the B file as well, so Emil Skinner will have time and pressure along the B file. There's the idea of playing F4 for me. Alekhine had one of his earliest games, I think, with the white pieces in one of these Viennas, where he did like F5, if you look at Alekhine's collected games or whatever. Now he goes knight g5. Now we have to decide between queen e7 and rook f8. I think rook f8 is out because of knight takes h7, unless you want to sack a pawn, which isn't that crazy, I guess. I guess we have to play here, which looks a little scary. We have to forfeit our castling right. I'm down to 40 seconds. Where is my time going in these games? Yeah, I mean, it's a very practical opening for fast chess, maybe blitz and rapid chess, but I wouldn't want to risk the Latvian in like slow play. Now, do I go to f8 or d8? I feel safer on d8. Unfortunately, it blocks my knight from this key square. But all I have to do is survive. Wow, he took on f5. Unexpected. Unexpected move. And another tempo move. Skinner has 2 minutes to my 16 seconds. Obviously, rook f8. King safety is my only issue. But it's an important one. Not really looking like my king's ever going to be fully safe in the very near future. And we have rook. Okay, I mean, the other issue is rook placement. I mean, the rook isn't in the game, so I shouldn't say the king safety is my only problem. The rook on a8 is definitely not good. Other than that, you know, okay, white could open it up with d4 or f4 at some point. I was concerned about that, to be honest. Another plan he might have had, instead of queen f3, would have regarded playing f4 quickly. Well, what's going on? Only got 8 seconds to his minute. Bishop on a3 doesn't really do much. He left his knight hanging. I think he needs to play a long-term game there. Damn. The pawn might be more useful than a bishop. Try to keep it closed. Just losing a pawn now? Damn. All right, we were lucky not to be worse a lot of times. And that game was awful for me too. I want to see what I did wrong here. There's not very much theory, obviously. So I am supposed to take on e4 and then play d5. This is what I was analyzing, but I was freaking out, you know. This variation, I wasn't sure. Knight takes d5. I think this is in the books, but I couldn't remember. Knight takes d5, knight takes d5, queen h5, check, g6. Knight takes g6. And when I started to analyze this, my head started to hurt, so I think I just abandoned the analysis there. Apparently this is playable for black, but you have to know it cold. You have to memorize this sort of line. You can't be figuring this out over the board in a 5-minute game. I mean, it's just like, unless you're a human computer. So I played knight c6, and this is cool. I mean, there's only one game with knight g5. White actually lost. Black played queen e7. I would have played d5. It looks like the better move. So yeah, this is like what I expected. But he just declines, and we go into some kind of like blue, reverse Vienna. And this is an actual game. A lot of these games on lichess are correspondence games, especially in the weirder openings. I think they have thematic tournaments in the ICCF or whatever. Like the correspondence games you find on lichess oftentimes are like, they had to play like certain openings or something like that. This is probably one of those. So we're still following theory, so to speak. Bishop f7 check, king d8. Here is interesting. So the engine says I should play king f8. And I actually thought about it. But I mean, when you look at the f file and see the possibility that he can play f4, it's actually kind of scary, I'm afraid of putting my king on f8 because ultimately, like, the dark squares will open up on the king's side. I think that's dangerous for my king, but amazingly, this is supposed to be the better move. Okay, I see. So I'm threatening to win a piece. He must take time to play bishop e3. Then I close it up with h6. He has to retreat. And then I can play Alekhine style with f4 or g5. f4, knight h4? What the heck's up with that? f4, knight h4. Okay, I can just move my queen back. So that's the idea, that I can play king f8 and then close the king side. Good to know for future reference. The way I played it wasn't very safe. Aldisto is a subscriber as well. Then we'll go to Soltigo and the guests. Aldisto came really close to catching me in the tournament last night. I haven't seen your comment for 3 times. Can you check after the game if d5 was any good? But in which position, Tactical Wizard? On move 8, is d5 any good? We'll check afterwards. So unusual openings. You guys are trolling me, making me black every single game. Shit. Another unusual e4, e5 game. Let's try for that. I'm kind of getting into this e4, e5. Okay, Aldisto played the center game. That's cool. That's an unusual opening. I lost to Christian Sabo once, like the only time in my life. I played the center game against Christian Sabo, whose trainer is like Lukács Péter, who's written like 800 articles for New in Chess. And, probably not good idea to experiment in the opening against someone whose trainer is like one of the leading theoreticians in Hungary. The guy just butchered me in the opening. I don't think the center game is very good for white, but I was hoping to play something interesting. So not a lot of alternatives. I guess we could play knight c6, right? Turning it into a Nimzovich defense. My old friend Jorge Zamora, otherwise known as Jorge Samor Hasbun, used to play a lot of e4, knight c6, d4, e5. There's a number of grandmasters that have played this. Now how do I play something unusual against the Scotch? I guess I can play d5. We should try d5. I think this is an actual move. I'm not sure if it's really playable or not, but we're trying something that we don't know. We'll have to spend 5 minutes figuring it out over the board. Anyway, the last game was fun, at least. Relatively correct. I know that I had looked at that other line that I mentioned against him with taking on e4 and playing, you know, straightforward with... We also should look at Rich's suggestion of playing c6. I'm not sure that this is the best move. Maybe, like, critical is knight takes e5 or something. I'm just speculating. I think I actually looked at this recently with someone when I was doing a lesson. If it wasn't this exact position, it was a mirror image of it. I mean, it was something... It's reminding me of the c3 Sicilian. Yeah, this doesn't seem good for white. Letting me take on d1. Playable, but not the best for white. Aldisto sort of gave up the initiative here. Black should have a decent game. Black should be able to equalize. Bishop g4 is the natural move. I mean, I could take on c3, but I don't have to do that right away. This seems right. Threatening to win back my pawn. Threatening to win back my pawn on e5. Welcome, everyone. Unusual opening stream today, Wednesday. Weird Wednesday. Sorry, Dr. Seuss, I don't mean to threaten your copyright. Anyway, bishop g4, it's feeling like the most active move. Aldisto lost the initiative here. Now we can take on c3 at some moment. Smashing up those pawns. Castles queenside, knight e7, knight g6. What's the best move though? I should develop my pieces, I guess. Check. Always check. That's what a great chess hustler once told me. Always check, it might be mate. Mainly a world-class park hustler has said that. So after this game, we'll analyze that last opening once more. Now, are you threatening something? There's this knights, you know, the knights are not actually pinned anymore, so they can lunge. This knight doesn't really have a good lunge. He could lunge into the center with knight e4. This knight could go to g5. This little piggy went home. Knight e7, knight g5, knight g6. That seems okay for me. Just developing a piece. I want to check Rich's idea of c6. I don't think that that was mentioned by the Opening Explorer. The Opening Explorer had like no games. If we go to ChessBase and check like older games and games below 2200, we're going to come up with a lot of games probably. I mean, and it doesn't mean they were bad quality. You guys are all under 2200 and you're capable of playing excellent chess. So I think it's very questionable to draw the line with Opening Explorer at 2200. There are plenty of quality chess games played by players below 2200. A lot of them are not, but a lot of them are. So bishop d3, just developing pieces. Knight g6. Obviously looks like a good move. There's no weird knight unpinning moves that are really strong for him. I guess I could take on f3 now. I was fearing kind of like bishop h3 check sometimes. We're ready to complete our development with like rook here. Try to scoop up that pawn. I guess I might as well just play bishop takes c3 at some point. A little surprised by this, but he's a materialist. Does save a tempo, I guess. And a pawn. Yeah, maybe I misplayed it. I still think that black is probably okay. My bishop is going to get kicked out of g4. He's threatening the fork now. Rook d7. At least I can damage his pawns. But my bishop is nearly trapped, so rook d7 doesn't look very good. We'll have to come up with another idea. Bishop e6 leaves me with a really grotesque pawn structure. Which I do not want. No tactics at all anywhere. So unfortunately, I mean, rook d7 allows f3 and I have nowhere to go except to the ridiculous square e6 anyway. That ending may be holdable for me to put my bishop on e6, despite being down a pawn. You know, he has a really bad bishop. His pawn structure is broken up too. It's not that easy to get a passed pawn. My alternative, however, with like rook f8 looks which rook? Or should I just play bishop e6? Alright, screw it. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm down a pawn, but let's just play the concrete move. We're down a pawn. His bishop's really bad. Hopefully we can survive somehow. We can put a lot of pressure on e5. I don't even know if I want to win that pawn, to be honest. Maybe we should be thinking about other things. His kingside pawns are weak. King side, queen side. What is this, chess 960? These pawns. It's a difficult ending. I'm down a pawn, broken pawns. He's got broken pawns. Both of our kings are yet to enter the game. I feel like black has reasonable drawing chances, although either side could win. I'm just interested in mobilization. Targeting these pawns. His king is a potential target. Damn, that's a good move. I think I just helped him gain time. Don't want to trade pieces. Wow, good move. Man, A4 is a star move. Whoa. What the hell am I doing? I played this like a complete idiot. The games today are pretty bad by me. I mean, I was definitely lost at some point. There are no games in the database. This is like a fully playable line. Oh my god. There's no games in the Chess Opening Explorer. Now we transposed. Okay. There was a transposition. Yeah, this isn't good. But at some point I made a mistake. King C1, knight E7. Now I should take both knights, the computer says. Yeah, I let him do this. There it was better to take with the F pawn. Rook D5 immediately, wow. That's crazy. Or Rook DE8. Now white's slightly better. Alright. Let me go back to our last game, guys. I want to check the last game for a minute because we still had some question about that with Mule Skinner. Like, first of all, Richie's suggestion of c6 was interesting. But my e5 pawn's hanging, right? So I guess I can't play c6 here because the knight takes e5. It's just not really good enough. Okay. So what was the other question? About playing d5? We had a question earlier. What was the question? Had a lot of comments here. It isn't any good. d5, e takes d5, knight takes d5, queen h5 check. All right, I guess you guys answered your questions about this. Yeah, I think it was reasonable. There was f takes e, knight takes e5, d5. That's like a critical line apparently, but I couldn't figure it out. Chess Network, what's up, man? Thank you for the Chess Network sending us some bits. That's awesome. So Chess Network is a good guy. We've got this crazy Latvian we played, and then the next game is over. All right, we're gonna play. What do we got here? Knight to d5, and then Lousy Dirty Cheater and Soltigo. Chess Network in the house. Knight to d5. Thank you guys for joining me, and thanks to everybody who subscribed. The actual Jerry. Chess Network. All right, e4. We've got to play unusual openings. They're trolling me so that I have to play black every single game, it appears. I don't know who's responsible for organizing this. It's not a coincidence that I got five games in a row with the black pieces. This is definitely not a coincidence. But we're going to continue with the theme today of e4, e5. I've got unusual opening stream today. We played the Latvian. We played... What did we play last game? Well, it was white. White played the center attack against me, and I did some kind of symmetrical center attack. I think that Bronstein, the last game was e4, e5, d4, knight c6, knight f3, d5. I think that Bronstein mentions that in his seminal book, 200 Open Games. Highly recommended. A lot of funny anecdotes and stuff by David Bronstein. If you guys don't have that book, it's really classic. Just kind of entertaining and funny, and a lot of good games. It's just e4, e5 positions. All right, so e4, and now we played e5 and knight f3. I'm not going to play like the elephant gambit or something ridiculous. Let's play knight c6 and see if we can find something unusual after that. Sometimes I play the Petrov, but the Petrov, you know, it's hard to get like unusual variations. Okay, bishop c4. And yeah, you can play like Steinitz played f5 here, right? I don't know what that's called. I don't know. I've had enough of that today, though. I thought I'd play something unusual, maybe next move. Let's see what white does. He did knight g5, so I don't know the Traxler variation at all. Do you guys know this, like bishop c5? I kind of need to know some theory there, because I don't have the first clue of how that works. Is that the Traxler variation? I'm going to play d5 and then try something else besides the normal knight a5. I don't really want to go into the, the fried liver. So we'll try the b5. This is like the Ulvestad variation. I guess this isn't really an unusual opening. I think that b5, is a relatively normal move, but I don't know how unusual I want to get. I don't want to go into the fried liver, honestly. So we're going to play this. That's as unusual as I'm going to get here. The Traxler is after the fried liver. No, but I'm supposed to play bishop c5. Right? Knight to d5 just took on c6. It feels like that's a concession for white, but I guess he is up a pawn, right? Maybe it's even the main line. I have no clue. I don't think that white should give up the bishop so quickly. It seems like black gets the initiative here. But I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Shall I play like h6 to kick him back? He could even play queen f3 there. Then I have e4. I'm not really a lifetime classical, or rather, what is it called? I'm not really a lifetime e4, e5 opening player. So I'm making this stuff up for the most part. I've only played e4, e5 in specific games against specific opponents where I could pretty much narrow down what they play to a very, very narrow amount of things. The Traxler is not good for black, but white must know how to avoid. Yeah. Anyway, the Traxler I don't know. So I think that's bishop c5, right? Lifetime Sicilian defense player. If I play bishop b7 here, queen f3 looks kind of irritating. I can also play h6, driving his knight back, then play bishop b7. That also doesn't seem right. I guess we can play a lot of moves. Alright, maybe I just avoid the trade of queens, but... Okay, I play e4. If he plays queen f3, I play e4, I suppose. You could take, but you're going to be ending a pawn down. So... Now he has got it. I guess he knows this. Wow, I sort of underestimated him. Now I've got problems. He has queen b3 there. That was much stronger. Basically forcing me to trade queens. He probably should have done that. Now I have bishop d6. No, then he's got it again. I have to kick him out first. No, if you play queen b3, knight to d5, you're just better. It looks like I've fallen into a trap. I can even play g5 here, queen e5 check. That's kind of weird, though. Maybe just castling queenside. This is insane. I mean, I just assumed this is horrible for white. That's crazy. Bishop here. Black has to have a massive initiative. He just takes it. Slightly dangerous for white. Pretty suicidal. Pretty suicidal. Knight to d5 just playing too quickly. One of the main faults of many of my opponents here. My fault is being too slow, but I like to think. Think a lot. Think about all you got. Yeah, knight to d5, you lose your queen now. Knight to d5's opening looked really legit. I don't know. I think I messed it up. Again, I'm really struggling in these weird openings. But I'm going out of my way to play classical stuff with e4, e5, so it's weirder than usual for me. Opening lines for the two bishops. What two bishops? Actually, it might be a mistake to play that. E3 doesn't really help me at all. But white lost too much material. We're going to be playing a couple more games here momentarily. Lousy Dirty Cheater, Saltigo. No, okay, knight to d5 got... He lost his grip. This is hopeless. He's only down 2 points of material, is that right? He's got 2 pieces for a queen. Alright, I feel like I'm the first one who made a mistake here. I played this, what is it, like Ovestad variation with b5. And, like, statistically, it looks like the second best move. It seems like it's kind of interchangeable with knight to d4. Knight b4, wow, that's weird. I didn't even know this move, like, existed. That is strange. Played by Radulski back in 2006. 2 games against the same guy. How weird is that? It was played in 2 games against the same guy. There's like a copycat thing going on. That's weird. Alright, so b5. You're supposed to play bishop f1. Most people aren't going to do that if they don't know the theory. Most recently played in 2010. Henk Vetter versus Joshua Friedel, 2009. I remember Josh losing to Hikaru in a fried knight a5, not fried liver, but a knight a5 line. I think Josh played him in the U.S. Championship like maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and Hikaru was white, and Josh played the knight a5 variation and lost with black pieces. Josh has been playing e4, e5 since he was a little kid. I was surprised he lost to Hikaru, but Hikaru is Hikaru. So bishop takes c6 is best move according to the engine. That's interesting. This is not the main line, of course. Bishop f1 was the main line. So now queen f3. He castled first. Queen f3 first. This is best. And then I don't want to trade queens, obviously. So most players have played e4. Just because you don't want to do something doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, though. It's like taxes, right? Maybe black has nothing better than trading queens here. He lost most of the games where black played e4 and drew when black played queen takes f3. Of course, it's not a big sample size. Yeah, Photon Man. I'm not talking about Josh Waitskin. I mean Josh Friedel. The only grandmaster ever to come out of New Hampshire. He's a fellow New Englander. Well, I'm like an adopted New Englander. I'm not born and raised in New England, but I did live there for like 12 years. But anyways, this is a typical situation. It feels like black should avoid, you know, trading queens because he's down a pawn. His queen is active. But it looks like you might have to trade queens, because otherwise white gets a pretty good game. That's kind of what I felt like in the game. Castles, bishop b7, queen f3, best move. Yeah, I didn't want to trade queens, but I felt like maybe I should allow it. Yeah, so it's just a good line for white. Slight advantage. Subtle move like rook b8. Who would imagine rook b8 is the best move here? I mean, that's kind of insane. All right. But if you know they're going to trade queens on c6, then rook b8 makes some logical sense. He just has queen b3 there. I mean, it's just... I saw it as soon as I played e4. Now I have to trade queens anyway with queen d5, or maybe the weird speculative knight d5. Knight d5 is dropping a pawn on e4. Yeah, so this is bad for me. It looks like I have to play that, but it's already kind of dubious. Rook e1. I'm overextended. My center is overextended. I'm already down a pawn. You know, how many pawns can I sacrifice here? There's a crazy line. Bishop e7, rook takes e4. Or knight takes e4. This isn't really correct for black. So I guess I have to trade queens, objectively. Rook b8. Queen takes c6. Something like this, where I have some compensation for the sacrificed pawn in the endgame with the two bishops, but it's not really enough. Huh. Kind of depressing. And white could play queen f3 right away, which is apparently the better move. Now e4, e4, queen c3 was played. This is apparently a mistake. Queen b3 again. This is probably a correspondence game, but not sure, but I would guess Perdomo versus Santiago. Some kind of theory. Anyway, interesting variation. We need to study that a little more if you ever want to play it in a tournament game. Yeah. I'm going to play one more game, and then Soltigo, our moderator. Soltigo, you told me to let everyone else play, so. Soltigo's not a subscriber, but he's just absolutely valuable, saving me when I needed a moderator. All right. Well, we are getting black every game. It's a troll situation. Where are you born? Where were you born? I was born in Camden, New Jersey, man. Where they make, I don't know what they make, but just across the river from Philadelphia. Garden spot of the United States. e4. We played e5. We've got to stick with e5 today. They make a lot of pizza there. Is that true? I don't think production is very high. Knight f3. What are we going to do now? We played the Latvian. What else can we play? Let's try the Petrov, and we'll try something original here. If Lousy Dirty Cheater does something lame, like play the 3 Knights game, or whatever that's called, if I don't... what do you call it when they just go here? It's not a 4 Knights game yet. What is that move called? It doesn't have its own name. Like, you've got to play your own knight. See, he did it. I knew this was going to happen. How can I play an unusual opening if you play that? You're trying to purposely make life difficult for me. Okay. Any weird ideas in the 4 Knights? Or is like the Hare Krishna variation with like knight c6, bishop b5, bishop d6, which was recommended by Brian Smith. That was fashionable for a little while. I never really allowed the 4 Knights, but I'm thinking, what can I do to play something unusual? I spent all my time just thinking up unusual openings to play. I usually play bishop b4, so that wouldn't be very unusual with me to play what I normally play. Wonder if you could play g6 here. g6, knight takes e5. Not really. You could play queen e7 next and try to take the pawn. But that's just like unsound, made up opening. Running out of ideas. All right, we'll try to think up something unusual here. We have another hour almost. 50 minutes to stream. c6 d5 was suggested. c6, knight takes e5, d5, some kind of unsound gambit. The Scotch. Once again, not an unusual opening. You can play the Belgrade Gambit after pawn takes pawn. Isn't that the Belgrade Gambit? Knight d5. More options for white, obviously. We'll try this variation. It's not that unusual, but I'm running out of ideas. Obviously, you know, the common move here is the only normal move is to take. You could play d6, which would just be kind of passive. This is actually an interesting line. Closely related to 3 bishop b4. No, I've forgotten the theory altogether. Tomorrow night, guys, I have my subscriber stream, which is 7 p.m. CET here. Please subscribe and resubscribe, and subscribe again after that. No, subscriber stream on Thursday. I've got a night when I just do like game analysis. So if you guys are subscribers and you have like a tournament game or some interesting game you found, we can analyze together, play some blitz and classical chess here tomorrow night on Thursday. That would be Thursday. Okay, this is not really an unusual opening, but it's a little unusual. Can you subscribe while subscribed? You can, yeah, you can double subscribe. Just create a second account and subscribe with that too. Bishop b4. That was cool. The Chess Network paid us a visit. Donated 100 bits. I always tell the story. I think I played Chess Network in a tournament game many, many years ago, back in like 2003 or 2002, 2001, 2000. Between 2000 and 2003, I think I had a tournament game with Chess Network. I think I lost, but it might have been a draw. I can't remember. And I don't know where the score sheet is. But usually when I black things out, it's like I lost, and it's like my subconscious is trying to make me not experience too much too much like horror. Okay, d5. Now I forgot. Knight takes e4, d takes c6. Hold on a second here. Knight takes e4. Queen d3. Knight c5. Knight takes d4, d takes c, knight takes c3. I think that's the line, isn't it? Am I supposed to play knight e7? Yeah, maybe I'm getting carried away here. I guess I'm supposed to play knight e7. We almost got carried away with like knight takes e4. I somehow doubt that sound. 5+3 blitz. It's funny though, isn't it, how you only forget the games you lost, or the games that were like disappointing. It's like blackouts during drinking. It's our subconscious's way of making us forget about bad things. I might as well just take on a c3 at this point. At least we have a solid structure. It's like a Nimzo. Someone drew the parallel to the Nimzo. I think that's very apt. Apropos. You forgot all your games. That's a problem. If you're like under the age of 70, you might want to consult a doctor if you forgot all of your games. I know that I need Ginkgo biloba, but I usually remember the wins, you know. I just remember playing chess. I didn't know he was Chess Network until we suspect who he is later, but he was like in high school or something, and it was a really long game, and I think his dad was there waiting for him or something, and I was paired down. It was like round 1 of a tournament where I was paired down, and he was probably like 2,100, and I can't remember if I lost or drew, but whatever it was like, it was a first round disappointment for me. You know, I either drew or lost a much lower rated guy, but he played well. But the game is totally blacked out. It was like over 15 years ago, so I guess it's reasonable to forget about it. I suspect that I lost, but I can't remember for sure. This was against Chess Network. Jerry of Chess Network fame. Okay, h3. That's a slow move, weakening his king side a little bit. My knight on g6. I don't want to castle if you're not going to castle. We could play here. I might passive, eh? Try to sound Canadian in honor of Eric Hansen. The stereotypes. Knight c5. Knight c5, why did he retreat back to e2? That's kind of weird. Now I have a good game. I mean, I'm just playing f5. If I don't play f5, he could play g4. I don't think I like that. He does have bishop h5 check, but we can afford a slight weakening in our position. I could even play knight g6, actually, on bishop h5 check. That would be funny. Just knight g6. Okay, double my pawns, whatever. We have a good position. Wow, that's a lot of weaknesses in the white king side now. Lousy Dirty Cheater got really passive. At the same time, I don't really want to weaken my position entirely. I mean, close the position. Weaken. That's a Freudian slip of some sort. He's just collapsing. Not really up to snuff. Lousy Dirty Cheater, not with his best game. I think this is book. Knight takes e5 is commonly known. It's like a pawn sacrifice. Castles or queen e7 are both played. Speaking of Josh Friedel, I think I saw Josh play that too. Alright, but d5, yeah, I almost did this. This is the line. Okay, this is a line. It's really crazy. I'm not wrong. Queen d3, knight c5. Alexei Alexandrov actually did this. The idea is queen c4, b5, I think. Queen g4. Wow, Alexandrov actually went into this. This is insane. Kobalia lost against this this Indian woman master, Subbaraman, I remember. Man, black won all 3 games from this dubious position. That's insane. So it's not really correct. Okay. So I played correctly. You're supposed to play knight takes e5 anyway. Knight takes e5. Wow, weird line. d6 or knight takes e4. I like knight takes e4, thank you. Queen d4. Bishop takes c3 check. B takes c. Even a really new game. Platt versus Rambaldi. This Platt guy is getting pretty good. He was playing for the Czech team in the European Team Championship. This looks like a solid line for black. Okay, I would do that again. Soltigo's up next. So I don't know what the status is of that. Oh, we got white. Soltigo, you messed it up, man. You're supposed to just challenge me with white, I think. I'm a Twitch affiliate, I guess not a partner. Now I forgot. Now I forgot. Now you made me forget what I am. Soltigo, are you here? Senacier. Good idea, Antonio. I actually had an interesting idea. The Senacier is b4. But I wanted to try something new. So I'm going to play this. Kind of on the same lines as Senacier. Now hopefully Soltigo plays c5 here. Principled move. We can do like a delayed Senacier. Aw, man, you ruined it. Now I wanted to do the Budapest Gambit with the extra move a3. I don't know if it's sound, but c5, e4. Pawn takes pawn, and knight g5. I'm interested in this. It might be interesting. I'm sure it's been tried by somebody along the line. But that was my big idea here for a new invention. Bishop g4 pretty much is a good move against everything. I mean, this makes a3 look kind of stupid. So, all right. Soltigo is disqualified. But I can't remember if I'm a partner or an affiliate. It's not like it says it in bold letters somewhere. I thought it was a partner. What's the difference? Now I forgot. All right. 97, really safe, solid line by Soltigo. It's going to be hard for me to make a3. It's going to be hard to make a3 look like a constructive move in this opening. Maybe we can transition to some kind of prie attack. The French Grandmaster. He likes to play like d4, knight f3, and a3. If black goes for e5, it could be a kind of like Rubinstein French with colors reversed, where I've got the extra move a3. I don't know, if probably a semi-useful move. Like a trump. I could have played g3. My problem with g3, I'll tell you guys, is that if I go into that trump type of thing, I just don't see a3 being relevant at all. It's just like a flat-out tempo loss. Whereas in these pre-A type of openings, like a3 in the Rubinstein French or some other kind of thing, or some kind of queen's pawn game, might be a useful move. And I think in the Trompowsky type of setup, it's a 0. That's why I decided not to play g3 here. If you plan the Budapest for white, a4 is interesting. That's what I said, Antonio. I was thinking about, but a4 is just garbage, right? We can only play a4 if we can be guaranteed that black's going to play c5 and then e4. And then he might not even take the pawn. Maybe he'll just play something like e6. So a4 is just too weakening. I'm just thinking a3, nothing else works, like g3, b3. None of the other moves for white that are waiting moves, make for a good Budapest. I think maybe a3 or a4 are the only moves, literally, that kind of fit in. I thought, okay, you're right. Antonio's right about a4 for the rook lift, but honestly, I mean, the a3 and a4 also have a secondary function that the bishop can retreat from c4 along this diagonal back to a2. Like in the the Budapest, it's actually good to play bishop a7 to have that retreat square. Maybe we won't have the rook lift, but we do have a bishop back to a2 type of thing, which can be useful. I don't know. It's an idea. So the pre-A attack, we could also play, let's see, like b4. b4 looks too early. Close to reverse Slav. It's close to a reverse Slav. It's like, well, you can't be a Slav unless he plays c5, you know. It's close to a French after e5. But his knight placement would be weird there. 5 plus 5, so 5-second increment gives us a little more time once our base time runs out. Guys, subscribe for stream tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Okay, this move feels like violation of principle somehow. Black's moving the same piece twice, unprovoked. But it's probably not so bad. Like a solid move that trades pieces with black pieces. You know, not so bad. I guess I should try to play c4 and break the pin if I can. We could play takes and h3 though. That's kind of cool. Takes, h3, bishop h5, g4, bishop g6, and then like knight h4 with the two bishops. But I'm losing control in the center and I'm really behind in development. Knight takes, h3, bishop h5, g4, bishop g6, knight h4, then like e5 or something, knight takes g6, h takes g6. Bishop g2, f5. No, he's got too many weaknesses. No, he can do that, f5. And I'm like weakened and I can't break through. So I'm not that sure about this. c4, e6. c4, e6. Then knight takes. Pawn takes h3, bishop h5. Then there's no knight h4. I was thinking c4, e6, queen b3. Alright, let's try something. We're going to run out of time, so I can put pressure on d5 and b7. Get out of the pin. This was unexpected. He's just leaving the e5 square weak. I think just queen b3. Exploiting b7. It should be slightly better for white. I mean, he has a question to answer about the fact that his king's still in the center. I'm threatening b7, pressure's on d5. Knight f6 was a weird move. The knight on d7 controls the e5 square. I always tell people not to do that, to follow the other knight. You know, in East London system, Colley system type Stonewall attack sort of variations. Usually it's better to keep the other knight back on d7 or d2 or what have you. So now he's just sacked the pawn. It's hard to believe that's seriously playable. Maybe I should have taken on d5 first. But then he has queen takes d5. There's also the possibility of playing knight e5. I've had a lot of games lately where I had to, against Muleskinner this week, where I had to, for example, I had to take a pawn and then like consolidate. I don't really like it, you know, grabbing material and losing the initiative, but this you know, this just seems unsound for black. The puzzles, oh yeah, I like it when the puzzles are like so and so is like account has been, what is it? What does it say? Never mind, I'm just losing it. What happened? Bishop e7, of course. Knight e5. Pawn takes pawn. I get a little greedy if I do that. How about queen c6 check? It's going to force a permanent concession. Yeah, that's good for white. We're just up a clear pawn. No way is this correct for black. Knight e5. I'm not sure if I should exchange on e5 or not, but it's a move. Probably a mistake. But he doesn't have bishop d7. Not really any threats for black per se here. And his king is messed up. Now he's just avoiding trades. Again, he doesn't have any sort of threats. I don't know if this is the right move, but I eliminate a powerful bishop. Good strategic plan. Wow. Nice. Soltigo. He's a practical player. So am I. You get rid of your bad bishop, I get rid of mine. No bad bishops. Look, ma. No knight g4 nonsense. We're just up a pawn in a position. Both sides have a pawn weakness. Guys, we have half an hour left for the stream today, which means like 2 more games probably. I mean, in the hands of a competent technical player, the winning chances are very, very good for white here. Soltigo messing it up and letting me play the white pieces. I don't know what happened. You guys didn't let the moderator in on the secret troll concept of making me play black on every in every game. That's a pawn. Running out of energia. I will just play it safe. A little passive though. He just resigned. Alright. I'm very curious if this has ever been tried, you know. The c5, e4. It's got to exist. Nobody played it. No master games with the Budapest reversed. The extra move a3. You know, my idea would be to play like bishop c4 and have that retreat. Knight f6, bishop c4. A3 can't really be a negative move. But as Morales pointed out, you know, like a4 would not be a move we're going to find too many games with a4. Somebody's tried it. Jonathan Rogers. Nobody, only one player. Yeah, Jonathan Rogers. No, Maurice Staples. 1979. The point is e4. D takes e4, knight g5. Chris Baker just walking into it. Interesting stuff. But our game in question here, I thought you should play e5 Soltigo and turn it into a French. Or my move a3 is kind of useless, honestly. All right, a little bit of help, the a3 move, but not too much. All right, we've got time for 2 more games. Grandmaster 57. Grandmaster 57, are you still a subscriber? We lost a bunch of subscribers, which is not good. I think Grandmaster 57 was a subscriber the last time he was on. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'd like to get a check on that. Twitch doesn't work right. When I try to get a list of my subscribers, it never sends it to me. I haven't gotten around to sending them an email about it. But there's some sort of bug, and I don't actually get the email, even if my spam folder is turned off. Alright, Grandmaster 57, we're playing unusual openings today. You're the only person to play. We've only had 2 games. No, every game hasn't been d4, right? Every game's been e4. That's weird. After d4, what are we playing for unusual? I never play the Dutch, so let's play the Dutch. I don't think you can just see the subs on the stream there. Knight f3. I wanted to play a kind of Bird Larsen. Sometimes I've seen Chernyshov play b6. But against this setup, it should be viable. The London. Bird Larsen with black. White's playing the London system. These sort of positions I'm always tempted. I want to do like rook g8 and g5. It's so funny. But it might be playable. Pavel Blatny, for example, would be crazy enough to do something like that. I think bishop d6 is okay for black too. The full Lasker. He plays knight e5. Wow. Interesting stuff. This is super weird. He's used no time. But I don't know if he's a subscriber. He's not answering. We have lost a bunch of our subscribers lately. I think I need to develop this piece. It's hard to get this ironclad grip off of e5 here. Position is approximately equal. I was thinking about e5 now. Take. White has a kind of good grip on e5 again. He's still trying to play for e5. Some kind of London system expert. I'm an expert. Knight d5 is sort of interesting. Maybe forcing him to release, forcing him to release the grip on e5. I'm thinking with the pawn maybe a little risky, but it keeps control of e5. White's used no time, playing a bullet game. I don't understand the point though of playing on my stream bullet. I guess some people just can't slow down no matter what. a5 interesting here. A little bit weakening. Of course, anything's possible. I think this guy only plays the London system. Sort of gross, but to each his own. Yeah, it would be cool to play like Rook G8. I should have done that. Got a kind of funky pawn structure here. But it should be about equal. We've got another one where that came from. Now the c4 question. Now if he takes, I'm not sure which way I want to take back. Maybe with the F file, pressure along the F file. Yeah, that seems right. Is this the guy who has a really low center-pawn loss every game? I did win 2 games against him, so he can't be... He has to be legit. His rating went down since the last time, didn't it? No, just 7 games. He's 1800 in classical chess. How weird is that? Is there any reason to play? Well, I want to get my rook off of a6. Yeah, you're 1800 in classical chess. I think I banned him in the chat, that's why he can't talk. I'm accepting his challenge anyway. I forgot about that. But I thought he had like 3 different accounts or something. Basically. Just your typical boring London system. Master of Life. Okay, yeah, I was wondering if you had another account. Okay, so that is you. I get confused when people have multiple accounts. All right. Didn't know if you're still a subscriber or not. Lichess. Twitch never mails me my subscriber list, so it's hard to know who's a subscriber if they don't chat in the stream. All right, we're gonna take this way. We've got this Tetris thing going on the last 2 days. It's really weird. Extremely unusual Tetris. Maybe it's interesting to take with the queen here. Pawn takes, queen takes, pawn takes. That's okay. The pawn, it's hard to attack the base of my pawn chain at d7. The ultimate Tetris. Now we should focus on the F file. He locked the queen side, but we do have some chances along the F file. The snake. Slightly better for black now. Double on the F file, try to triple on the F file, but I don't know if I can actually break through. I mean, maybe I just can't make progress. Yeah, here I should probably take. I can play rook f8 as well. We should be slightly better. But it's probably not enough to make progress. Whoa. But now we're winning a pawn. Still not so easy to win. King g2, rook f6. Rook f2, obviously queen takes c3 is winning. Guys, I have time for one more game after this for today. I mean, white was pretty solid, but he fixed the queen side. I didn't think he had to do that. He should have just played like c4. It would have been approximately equal. Alright, so tomorrow night, subscriber stream, 7 p.m. CET. Game analysis, blitz, classical chess. Friday, it's more blitz and classical in the morning. And Sunday is a simul 30-30 for 20 players at 6:30 p.m. Central European time. He just resigned here. I mean, he could play it out, but it looks pretty awkward. It's funny that rook g2 threatens mate. I didn't think of that. Rook g2, g6, and then f4. It's pretty bad. He's just totally lost there. So resignation is reasonable. Arthur Gerksy. Is that SXPG? Are you from Poland, Arthur? Alright, we've got just time for one more game. That was an unnecessary loss by white, though. I was slightly worse out of the opening, and it's really just closing the queen side and then playing f3, though it was unpleasant once he did that. Bishop c4. Hard to find an unusual opening here against this for sure. I wonder about d5. Nah, that just loses a pawn. f5. Let's do it. This is old school. Steinitz played f5. I think there are some games in this. Bishop takes g8, rook takes g8, queen h5 check, g6. I don't know the theory, but we're going to have fun. Soltigo. I distracted him. I don't like the London system at all. It just makes me nuts. But that was a good London system for white. White was slightly better there. I don't normally play that type of formation, though. I just was playing something weird, you know, with the b6. I mean, I would typically not do that because it's Wednesday with weird openings. I'm playing some setups I wouldn't normally play. That's a little bit over the normal, pushing the envelope, let's say, beyond the normal. But I guess against the London system, you have a little bit more room to play some kind of frisky setups for black. I mean, risky. Queen e2. What is this? All right, I guess just knight c6, developing a piece. I don't think this seems right. Now I can take on e4. Or just develop a piece with knight f6. He has knight g5 again. Takes on e4, queen takes e4. Knight f6, queen e2. That's pretty weird. Yeah, I mean, queen e2 is kind of like in the Schliemann as well. It may not be bad at all in reality. Gleitzson, good to see you, man. You never worked out the difference between the Collie and the London. Well, the Collie, your bishop gets blocked in by e3. That's really a big difference. F takes e, queen takes e4, knight f6, queen e2, d5, knight takes e5. I see, and then I have a trick. But he has tricks too. This weird openings with e5 is really making life difficult for me today. I don't know what I'm doing. It's so alien for me to play this stuff. I play almost exclusively the Sicilian and sometimes Caro-Kann modern defense, but I very rarely play e4, e5, just for fun. Alright, this would be interesting. It's got to be playable for black to take on e4. There's no knight g5. He has to take with the queen. Or he could play bishop takes g8, which doesn't look right. We gain a tempo. Now it looks like a Schliemann, but his bishop's on c4 instead of b5. Queen e2. Or even queen h4, but queen h4 looks strange. So I was thinking about d5, knight takes e5. Queen e2, d5, knight takes e5. That's the question. And I actually was looking at knight to d4 there. But he has, after d5, knight takes e5, knight to d4, he has the discoveries knight c6 double, no, it's not double check, it's just check. Yeah, I take on e2 and I take on c1. Oh, okay, so this may actually work. I can play d5. But then bishop e5, it like literally transposes to the Schliemann. Well, that's crazy. That could actually be like a Schliemann. d5, bishop e5, e4. It's got to be best. So knight takes e5, knight d4 is good for black. Unless he has bishop b5 check, that doesn't really work, does it? Bishop b5 check. Knight takes e5, knight to d4, bishop b5 check. I guess I could just sack a pawn, you know, like, and have compensation. And then the idea is well, bishop e5 check, c6, knight takes c6, check. Knight takes e2. Now knight takes d8 is check. So I'd have to take on d8. Thus the problem. Not a lot of options really after bishop b5 check. I guess I'm going to have to take it and play c6 and play it like a long-term pawn sack. But it looks like a normal Schliemann, kind of. I have the bishop pair for a pawn. Maybe some slight lead in development, almost. Guys, last game for today. At least the games have been interesting. He's got to play bishop e5 check. Knight takes b5. c6, knight takes c6 check. Knight takes e2. Knight takes d8 check. King takes. He's just up a pawn there in an endgame with a better structure. 2 pawns. He's looking for more, of course, because it's the kind of mind-boggling position, but it doesn't appear that there's any other option for white but the obvious bishop b5 check. He's lucky he has that move. Anything else would lose. So knight takes b5, queen takes b5, c6. c6 fails because of knight takes c6 check. It's so unfortunate. I'm losing my queen there. Oh no. I just conned him. Dude, you had knight c6 check here. Oh my god. He must be listening to the stream or something. I just conned him. He could have won my queen after knight takes... So this like wins for white. Jeez. I have to play knight takes e2. Oh my god. So it was just a total blunder. Knight takes e2, c6, knight takes c6, knight takes e2, knight takes d8, check, king takes d8, king takes e2. I'm just down 2 pawns. This doesn't work at all. Knight takes b5, you have knight c6 check. I just resign. Man, this is embarrassing. Is he listening to the stream and he got his ideas from me? What's wrong with playing queen d3? I just take on c4. Nobody else saw this knight c6 check? We're all just sleeping here? Inexcusable. At least I saw it after the move. So we have a little bit of compensation now, but I feel really stupid about the whole variation that didn't work. I'm not sure about bishop f5 even, but at least it hits c2, provoking a little bit of weakness or making him tied down to that pawn. I think that black has some legitimate compensation here, but I was just lost resigns after knight c6 check. That's ridiculous. There's literally no move for black. I guess it's forgivable to oversight that, but that's insane. We don't really have quite enough compensation. It may remind one of like the Marshall Gambit or something, but it's not as good. Man, this is a crazy game. Thanks, Rich. I attack everyone. That's me, man. Without provocation. Only people who have provoked me. Queen c7. Very similar. Or the same person. Now we've got h6. We can take with a pawn. Winning a piece, but he has like Steinitz like compensation here. It looks pretty reasonable in a way. Okay, probably not enough compensation for a piece, but my queen is completely cut off from the battle. I guess king g7. We're playing without a queen, basically. That's pretty awkward. Maybe bishop d8. I'm going to be down 2 pawns now. 3 pawns. We have our original pawn that we were down, which I forgot about, so now it's like 3 pawns. King g7, I just don't like my queen not being in play here. I'd rather just give him the 3rd pawn. He doesn't want it. He has to take the 3rd pawn to have enough compensation for a sacrificed piece. Define tactic. I guess now we're technically winning. Whoa, I thought it was my move. What happened? That's weird. I thought you made a move. White shouldn't have quite enough compensation now. I don't know, to take with the pawn might be more solid. This creates less pawn weaknesses, I guess. Should be winning here. Next stream tomorrow night, guys, for subscribers. Guests are welcome to watch, hang out with us. I'm going to do some game analysis. There, I thought e6 maybe he could try. Now he's really got no counterplay. This could be a little hard for me to win, I guess, to break through, but objectively, meant to go to F7, mouse, Mr. Mouse. How do we make progress? We have to create another weakness, maybe a passed pawn, B5, B4, A4. Eventually black should be winning somehow. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me today for a Weird Wednesday. We had a lot of crazy and fun games. That's the way it's meant to be. Not so serious this opening stream. Okay, B4 is a good try. He's going to go rook B2. But I think I take this pawn and I've got rook C2. Rook C2 should end it. Trading the rooks. He's got not enough passed pawns. It is still kind of irritating, isn't it? This is pretty crazy. Amazingly difficult to make progress here for me. We should be able to do it eventually. I'm a little concerned, though. Whoa. That was amazingly difficult to achieve. Finally we get a passed pawn. He's out of the box. Alright guys, thank you for subscribing and for watching today. We've got a YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube, where I upload all the streams. We will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. CET with our subscriber stream. I did send a message to all the subscribers. I want to thank you guys for subscribing, for playing here. A lot of weird games today. I've got to analyze the games from today and from yesterday's tournament too. We had a lot of interesting struggles. So it was fun. I will be back again tomorrow. Thanks everyone. Thanks Soltigo for being here to moderate, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Peace.